There's been some crazy upsets in the VCT recently. Well, from the title, you guys probably have guessed it. I'm going to be talking about the biggest one. And this is just part 1, because I know that there are a bunch of other upsets that this video can't cover itself. So stay tuned for part 2. We all know the storyline behind Sentinels, the Sinatra drama. TenZ coming in as a replacement, rolling the VCT Masters. For that entire tournament, they literally only dropped one map, and that was to Luminosity Gaming. 2 weeks later, they play in an open qualifier for the next VCT. And they weren't so happy about needing to play in an open qualifier.
One, we shouldn't even be in open qualifiers. It's a fucking waste of time. We spent 3 months qualifying for Masters through 3 different series, and we won the fucking tournament, and now 2 weeks later, we're playing another open qualifier. It makes 0 sense. We knew this game was going to be a wipe.
Coming into this, they strongly believe that they're just going to roll everyone, just like how they did in the Masters. Confidence at an all-time high. On the other side though, we have Built by Gamers, who just came out of a tight 2-1 victory versus Beastcoast. And they fought really hard to get to the round of 16. The first game was an overtime game, 14-12, and the second game was 13-11, pretty tight. But luckily they're playing Bind on a third map. Bind is one of the worst maps for Beastcoast, with a whopping 33% win rate for them. And they managed to close that series out 13-9. They have one night to prepare for the Sentinels, and I'm sure their coaches and their players grinded the fuck out of VODs on Sentinels that night. Now, preparing for Sentinels is a tall task, due to their loose style of play and reliance on individuals to create openings. On top of that, they're literally trolling this tournament. So it's actually hard to get any advantageous information on Sentinels. Regardless though, I'm sure BBG on that night still went over VODs and prepared as much as they can, maybe not to get an edge strategically, but more so to ease their anxiety and go into the Sentinels game with a strong and fortified mental condition. You know what the saying is, opportunity comes to those who are prepared. Now before I go over the specifics of the match, I want to talk about BBG's roster right now. Will, Critical, and Bior have been on the roster for the past 5 months or so. The original roster actually had Foe and Rob Wiz, but in their place, right now they're trialing Rarkar and Poach. Rarkar was originally an MDL player, or Rank S player on CS. Previously he played on China Nguyen, which eventually became Equinox, and he played with them till around December of 2020. So Rarkar actually competed a bit on a pug team called
Can somebody give me a high?
and became inactive till he joined BBG recently. Now, for Poach, he was actually a Fortnite player before Valorant. He played under the Liquid banner, but as you guys know, the Liquid actually picked up a European Valorant team, so I'm guessing he wanted to go pro in Valorant too, and Liquid was definitely not an option. He started off trialing for C9, but eventually went over to Ambox. He played there for a long time and recently was actually let go. He's now currently trialing for BBG. Now, this team has actually got a very good track record. They very rarely lose to tier 2 teams, and they've always fallen to tier 1s, making them probably the tip top of tier 2. Their biggest wins were on Dignitas and Energy back in January. In terms of playstyle, BBG has a very fast-paced, trade-heavy style of offense. And for defense, they tend to use their double duelists to grab information on one side, while the other anchors and tries to take down as many as possible before dying. They only sometimes opt for a full retake only when the advantage is on their side. They basically play the very traditional NA playstyle. Sentinels, yeah, they play very similarly as well. So as you guys guessed it, it was a bloodbath of a matchup. I'm only going to be talking about the most crucial rounds of this match, so let's start with the pistol round. BBG actually starts off strong by winning this round. I'm sure they did some homework because unlike most North American teams which play for A orb control on the offense, they opted for a B split without any presence on A. This might actually attribute to the fact that Sentinels normally stacks 3A on Ascent on pistol rounds. For the past 2 matches that TenZ has been playing with Sentinels, they have been playing 3A at the beginning, but for this one specifically, it seems that they have mixed it up with TenZ at the market side. BBG pours into site with 3 in the main area and 2 coming from market. TenZ for a moment holds market, but turns around the moment Rarkar actually pushes out and misses a free kill here. Bior manages to swing out and get a first blood on TenZ. While simultaneously, Dapper gets a kill on Rarkar. Now, Will. BBG Will makes an insane solo play, goes down the stairs in a 1v2 situation and duels Dapper, comes out on top, takes the E and dips out. It's plays like this that tells me BBG has nothing to lose. Will at the moment probably thought, this is what's gonna work, this is what's in front of me, I'm not gonna worry about the consequences. 1v2, okay, I just want this first kill and dip. This play gives BBG the numbers advantage while the main players pour in and take the site. In the post plan, we're left in a 3v2 situation and it actually isn't as favorable as it looks due to the fact that 2 people are 1 HP and Will is kind of lit up as well. After flashing, Zoms actually pushes down to the stairs and gets Poach, but gets quickly traded off by Will. Unfortunately, maybe due to lack of communication, Sick was actually not in position to trade Zoms, leaving him in a 1v2 situation. Sick mollies Will out of the corner but whiffs almost half a clip on him. Will then, with everything on the line, swings out and gets the headshot on Sick. By this round alone, you could already tell the mentality of the two teams. Will, which was the star of this round, played as if he had nothing to lose, seized every opportunity without thinking about the consequences, while Sentinels on the other hand made some rash decisions and outright carelessness. For example, usually in a 2v3 situation, Zoms and Sick should be looking for a pick and not just running it down onto site, especially since they knew that 2 people were 1 HP. Now, since BBG got the first round, they get an economic advantage and just take the next round easy. The round after that though, Sick gets a 3k and denies their bonus, but it's okay. On the 4th round, that's where the real match begins. A full buy round on both teams. A quick fight happens for the A orb control. A 1-for-1 trade, but BBG does come out on top of it, considering Tens is 1 HP after the exchange. The action then returns into B main, and Will, the superstar of pistol round, gets picked off during the entry. BR then randomly sprays into CT smoke and gets Tens in the face. With the knowledge that Tens did rotate over to B, BBG assumes that nobody is on A, so Poach actually makes a TP play and goes for the plant. Unfortunately though, Zoms was actually around the A area and manages to get Rarkar during the rotation. Poach quickly trades it off, so it wasn't a big deal, but ShahZam at the same time wanted to play a fast retake and drops down into a 2v1. Again, I could see signs of carelessness. Dapper wasn't even close when he dropped down. Regardless though, he does get one, so 1v1 at the end of the day. Poach though is technically low, but he does have 2 kills under his belt, so he's kind of warm for a fight. He makes a little bit of an unorthodox play, but I respect it because it really is the only way I think he can get an advantage during this 1v1. Alright, so he hides under Hell, and instead of waiting for the tap on the bomb, he actually peeks out after his smoke fades and manages to catch Dapper off guard.
As Poach plays inside the smoke and gets to play around the clock a little bit, has a couple of shrouded steps, and I might not be in a position just yet to find it. He sees this.
An insane individual play. Everybody on BBG, from what I see so far, are playing with so much confidence and trust in their teammates. But going into the next round, they don't really have an economic advantage due to the fact that they did lose 4 people. This round again becomes a make or break economically for both teams. Now, because both Jets have knives, everybody else on the team do have guns to work with. After a whole mid of defaulting and trying to bait out utility, BBG finally commit to a full-on 5-man market push. Sentinels decided to actually play fast retake. They used 6 ulti in combination with ShahZam's Hunter's Fury, but unfortunately gets nothing out of it. BBG then positions themselves very cleverly. They have Will and Bior holding market, maintaining control of that area, while 3 players make it on site. Sova's planting the bomb, and 2 people are actually watching stairs. This is a very difficult setup for Sentinels to actually come in on, because if they were to go through CT, which is technically the only place they can come from, they fall into a crossfire trap between stairs and market. After Sick and ShahZam uses their ult, their last hope is probably on Tens with his knives, but he kind of just dashes in and dies. Quick trades happen at market. Bure actually comes out huge by baiting Will, but comes out on top with 2 picks, leaving BBG in a 2v1 situation where they end up just taking the round. This forces Sentinels into a save round, which then makes it a 5-1 lead for BBG. Sentinels then barely scrape by a buy round, and this makes it a 5-2 game. A very slow and methodical default happens for a solid minute this round, but at the end they finally commit to the B site. Rarkar though, dude. Rarkar though, everybody in this team actually pops the fuck off in this series. Rarkar comes in and gets a crazy double kill to open up the site for the team. A relatively inactive player comes back and goes off on the best team in NA right now. Like, holy shit. Again, due to a lack of communication, Zoms, he just TP'd backside, has his flash out, and gets caught because Dapper probably didn't tell him Jet was close. Alright, they actually win this round, but the next round, I have no idea why, but Sentinels forces it, but loses that round. Oh, and Tens gets sprayed through a smoke again. Alright, because they lose that round, Sentinels saves, they win it again, and now we're at 8-2. I mean, Sentinels do win the next two, which makes the half end off in like an 8-4, but the damage has already been done. Ascent's supposed to be a defense-sided map, and the only way to really make a crazy comeback was if their mental was actually there. And clearly, throughout this entire tournament, I don't think they were ready for an uphill battle. BBG ends up winning the pistol round, which means they win the next round too. So right now, 10-4. Sentinels take one more round because BBG were saving their previous guns, but wins out and takes game 1 on the series. Now, coming into game 2, I'm sure ShahZam, the IGL, probably gave him a pep talk and went all like, guys, let's reset, we're the best team in the NA, we got this, it's gonna be fine. And everyone gets pumped and they're like, yeah, let's go. And finally, you know, their mental is probably up again. This definitely showed when they will go back and forth for a solid 8 rounds. They trade rounds over and over again, resetting each other's economy, until finally, the dagger that sent Sentinels into despair.
That operator down on B, being able to just run everything according to plan on this round for Sentinels, only losing one player along the way. Poach only man standing, and we've seen some clutches, but this... Okay, come on now.
Poach able to find 2. Paranoia might find the 30. Does do just that. Now in a 1v1. Needs to find Zoms, and he is very healthy and rearing to do so. Looking to clutch to the back of the site. Playing the ring around the Rosie, and a 4K for Poach to clutch it up for a 2-round lead.
Poach, man. He does it again. Why did Anbox let this guy go, man? I don't get it. After that clip, BBG end up taking 6 rounds in a row. 6 rounds. They close out the game 12-5, beating the best team in North America. They finally break the curse and beat a tier 1 team after losing to Sentinels in the first VCT qualifiers, after losing to FaZe in the second VCT qualifiers, and then to Kooky Koalas in the third. They finally come back in stage 2 and beat the best team in North America to make it into the closed qualifiers. The core of the team, Critical, Will, and Bior, they finally achieved something that they were striving for probably the past half year. Achieving that with 2 new players in the roster, one being Rarkar, a relatively inactive player, comes in and shows up big on the main stage, and Poach, who recently has been let go by Anbox, dropped everything, including his content creations, to pursue professional Valorant, seeking new opportunity in BBG as just a trial. This is definitely a Cinderella story for underdogs, and I'm really happy for BBG. Hopefully they do well against Exit and surprise NA once more. Alright, that concludes part 1 of the upsets of VCT. Stay tuned for the next. Alright, peace out, guys.